welcome to Pelvic Floor Yoga. I am so pleased that you are here today. Let's go ahead and get started by coming onto our mat in a nice, easy seated pose, rib cage over pelvis. We will start with a little bit of side bending today. So let's take the left hand down to the floor. Right hand is going to go up and over. We're going to practice breathing into this right side body, into those ribs, in through the nose and out through the nose. In through the nose and out through the nose. Next inhale brings you up. As we exhale, let's take the right hand down to the mat. Left hand comes up over top of the head, breathing in through the nose and out through the nose, directing the breath into this left side body. A lot of pelvic floor work is learning how to breathe into your diaphragm, which is right under those ribs, which sometimes can get stuck and sticky. The fascia in the ribs can become stuck with adhesions, and so by breathing pointedly into the rib, we can try to remove those. Next inhale brings you up. As we exhale, let's fold forward. Keep breathing here. Let's walk the hands over to the left, continuing to breathe into that rib cage, and walking the hands over to the right, keeping it low and slow this morning. And sitting up nice and tall, let's go ahead and come on to hands and knees. Doing a few cat-cow movements. So as we push our belly towards the ground and look up towards the sky, this is cow pose. Tucking those hips under, arching the back, rounding into the shoulders, gazing at the navel. That is a cat pose. And we are deliberately taking this nice and slow, untucking the hips, dropping the belly, dropping the chest, looking up. And as we're looking up, we're making sure not to crank into the neck. We're looking maybe at a spot on the wall or a spot on the floor 4 to 6 feet in front of us. Again, let's tuck those hips, arch into the low back, the upper back, and then round into the head, gazing at the navel. And untucking those hips, dropping the belly, dropping the chest, gazing up. Let's stay here in cow pose and tuck the toes. We'll do a few rock backs. So rocking back, feeling those sit bones or the bones at the bottom of the pelvis opening. This is a great back pelvic opener. Rocking back again. Let's do 2 more times. Last one. Coming forward, untucking those toes. Let's take the left hand up to the sky, gazing at the left thumb. We're coming into a thread the needle pose, but first making sure we're opening here, getting good thoracic mobility, which is that portion of the back that's kind of near the bra line. Bringing this hand underneath the body, left ear comes to the mat. Keep breathing while you're in the pose. Left hand comes back up to the sky, and left hand comes to the mat. This time, right hand will come up to the sky, gazing up at that right thumb, really looking up, turning the body open, opening the chest and the back. taking this right hand underneath the body. Right ear comes down to the mat. The left hand can stay on the mat. Just twisting here, breathing. Taking things nice and slow. Getting some extra mobility. Right hand comes out from underneath and comes back up tall, looking up at that right thumb. Right hand will come down to join the left, walking the hands to the short side of the mat and pushing back into our puppy pose. We have a nice 90-degree angle from the thigh to the shin with that knee joint. Walking the hands back towards the body, we'll shift the hips over to the side, coming to sit onto the ground again. This time, right leg is going to extend, left leg is going to be over to the side, and let's just reach for those right toes with a nice tall flat back. If you have a strap and you wish to use it, you can put the strap on your foot, but it's morning time, so we're just getting everything warmed up. And sitting up nice and tall again, let's turn the right shoulder towards the right foot and then take the left arm up and over. Another great opportunity to breathe into that left side body. Out of this, putting the left hand onto the ground, let's take this right foot into the hand and really stretch out the leg. Now, if you need to set this onto the ground, you can, but if you can keep it lifted, go ahead and keep it lifted. We're stretching into the right quad. Then we'll set that down with the knee and the foot behind. So the knee comes down and the foot is behind. I like to call this the little chicken leg. And it's okay if you need to be over to the side just a bit. But if you can get the rib cage over the pelvis, this really gets some hip joint mobility here on the right side. Moving that femur in the socket, one of my favorite little slogans. And let's take the right hand and let's just twist over toward the right. So looking over that right shoulder. And then coming back to face forward, let's round over this left leg. And my hips are pretty tight this morning, so I'm not getting super far. Walking the hands over to the left. Rounding over that left leg. And walking the hands back up one more time, bringing that rib cage over the pelvis. Hands come behind the body. Let's windshield wiper the legs. We'll do all that on the other side. So this time, right leg curls in, left leg comes out to the side, sitting up nice and tall, turning the chest towards the left leg. Coming down, down, down with the chest. Then turning the left shoulder over towards the left foot. Right hand comes up and over the top. Another opportunity to breathe into this right rib cage. Right hand is going to come down to the mat. Left leg bends, and if you need to put it onto the mat, you can, but if you can, float it off the mat, really getting a nice quad stretch down the length of that quad, maybe even into that hip flexor here. Releasing that down onto the mat. And if you need to put weight on the right hand, you can. If you want to try to sit up over the body, torso over pelvis. You can. It just depends on what this joint is doing here today. Let's rotate over to the left, looking over that left shoulder. Then looking forward, let's fold forward over that front foot. That's the right foot. My left hip socket is not allowing me to come very far. You might come down further than me. We all have different mobility, and we all might be different on one side versus the other of our own body. Walking these hands over to the right, coming down over that right knee. Walking the hands back up, sitting up nice and tall. Let's windshield wiper those legs. And then come into a nice, easy seated position. And I want to thank everybody for joining this morning, or whatever time of day you might be doing this video. And I say to everybody, namaste. May your coffee and your pelvic floor be strong today. Thanks for coming.